the top, the very first slide,
Yes,
please.
ma'am.
So thank you all for inviting me to be a guest for the GRID program. I've heard a lot about the GRID program, and I'm very excited to be here. Next slide, please. So I'll just give a brief introduction of myself. I am Sandra Jenkins, and I'm a veteran high school teacher and an education consultant. I have three master's degrees, one in business administration, one in special education, and one in educational leadership. I'm a first generation college graduate and the mother of four successful adult children. And success is in the eye of the beholder. Um, and we'll get into that a little later. I'm an HBCU graduate from Mississippi Valley State University in Itta Bena, Mississippi. I'm a $1 million mom, and I've secured over $500,000 or $500,000 in grants to support underserved students. So let's talk a little bit about how I was able to help my daughter, the $1 million scholar, with navigating the college admissions process. So the first thing that we did was um, we talked about the college admissions process and we focused on the multiple components. Next slide, please. So we had to go through all the different application platforms. We had to go through the different options for the college entrance exams. We had to create a really strong resume for her. The letters of recommendations, getting ready for those, figuring out who she should ask to write really strong letters, who knew her the best and would be able to capture everything that she has done, capture that in a really strong letter of recommendation. We had to go over the financial aid and scholarships, looking for different scholarships, applying to the scholarships, writing essays for all the different scholarships. So that was very time consuming and it was a lot. We had to make sure that she had many of the extracurricular activities. Um, we had leadership, several pieces of leadership where she was president of different clubs. She participated in two different sports all year round, all 4 years of her school, as well as outside activities. She did internships. Um, uh, she started Betty's Closet here at Betty Fairfax High School for the homeless population, students who didn't have enough clothes and shoes. She started that and took in a lot of donations from teachers and students here on campus, their families. We had to make sure that we had up-to-date transcripts for her. Um, already mentioned that internships and job opportunities are a great way to stack your resume, but Eden had so many other things going on. We decided as a family we did not want her to work a job after school, but we did find different internships for her to participate in. We made sure that she volunteered in the community and had leadership roles in the community as well as on campus. We worked with her on her interview skills because some colleges and universities want to conduct an interview with you. So we wanted her to be prepared for that. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about uh, the parent's role. Um, how to be engaged and supportive of your student. And I tell parents all the time that it's a village and it's a joint effort between the school, the community, and home. and the students. So we're not trying to say that everything is going to be on the parents' shoulders, but we have to learn as parents how to reach out when we need help. And if we don't know what to do, as many first generation parents don't know what to do because they haven't gone to college and they don't know the process, the timelines, the deadlines, and all that stuff. Next slide, please. So our scholarship game had to be tight. Eden had really good metrics, so we wanted to make sure that she optimized and got really good offers from every school or the best offer. And then we were able to negotiate some offers with some of the state schools here as well. Next slide, please. Um, so here's what we did with the scholarship. We researched national and local scholarships, and there's plenty. And I have a book about this thick with all the different scholarships. I perused the internet looking for scholarships. I paid attention to the scholarships that different students in my district, my high school district, were winning. And I made a list of all of those scholarships, and there are many. And we applied to many of them. And Eden ended up getting most of the scholarships that she applied for. We analyzed the trends in scholarships awarded to Phoenix Union High School District students. We crafted interchangeable essays for patience so that she didn't have to start all over again writing an essay. She would get key points. Like most of the essays, they want to know more about you or tell me about yourself. So we had a whole essay on just about her. We had an essay written on who some of her heroes are or who her main hero and who she admires the most. And we just picked different pieces from 3 or 4 different essays that she had already written and created a multitude of essays that she could use interchangeably so she wouldn't have to start from scratch. We applied to multiple schools, made sure that she did safety, target, and reach schools, because what we told Eden is, nothing's out of your reach. Safety just means you are, overqualified is what I told her. You're a little bit overqualified. You meet all the qualifications for this particular school and then some. For your target school, you kind of equally yoked or you match okay with most of the college admissions metrics that they're looking for. And for your read school, you're a little underqualified, but still apply at least to 1 or 2. And she ended up applying, even though she did not get accepted to Harvard. She applied to Yale and one other, oh, Columbia. So she applied to 3 Reach schools because she had really strong metrics, but she didn't get accepted. But she did get an interview with all 3 of the Ivy Leagues. So, next slide, please. So these are some of Eden's extracurricular activities that we had worked on since she was in middle school to help her stand out. We wanted to make sure she was involved. I mean, it's a lot, and she had a rigorous schedule, but we taught her pretty good time management skills, which is what you're going to need for college, anyways. So we started working with her on how to balance and juggle all these things. Next slide, please. So these are some of the extracurricular things that she was involved in. Um, in sports, she played tennis every spring and volleyball every fall. And she even did a club league volleyball as well and tennis, private lessons and things like that. She was in the gifted program here at Betty Fairfax High School. So they had their own program where they would basically check in with the students, make sure that they are doing rigorous work, and making sure that they are on target for graduation, checking with them on things that they can do outside of high school, and just elevating them and telling them that they can do and be anything that they want to be because they have good metrics. Um, she was always involved in community service. We made sure of that. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, so we had a youth program, educational program, and we had community service opportunities and volunteer opportunities for high school students. And Eden was always a part of that. Eden took part in a lot of rigorous courses here at Fairfax. She was in IB Spanish. She was in IB Art. She had honors, everything, AP, everything. All of her classes were just top, top, top. She was a teacher's assistant in an inclusion class because my background is a special education teacher. That's how I started out at Fairfax. And I would be the teacher who would be in the classroom. If you have two teachers, one of them is normally your special ed teacher who works with students who need extra help. So I made sure that Eden did that, and I wanted her to give back and know that there are students who are not as bright as you, but I want you to learn how to work with students and help students who are not as gifted and not as talented as you. I never wanted her to look down her nose and say, "Oh, they don't know this," or "Oh, blah blah blah." So I set this up for her so she could do that. And she got lots of hours for being an inclusion algebra teacher because she was really good at it. And I wanted her to learn how to share what she knew, her knowledge, with other students. And I thought that would be beneficial. And it turns out she really enjoyed being a teacher's assistant for algebra. And I've already mentioned that she initiated Betty's Closet at Fairfax to help our homeless population. And a lot of our students who did not have shoes, she would take her own shoes. We would buy items for students and their and families. So, to help them. And that's how she gave back as well. She was treasurer of the National Honor Society. She was also president of the HBCU club here at Fairfax. She was part of the Ivy League project where she traveled to each of the Ivy Leagues. I believe it was her junior year. She traveled to each of the Ivy League schools and visited their campus, talked to admissions, and that was a really great experience. In addition to that, she was able to she did an HBCU tour. So HBCU is just an acronym for historically Black colleges and universities. So she was able to see multiple schools as well as the state schools here in Arizona. Because she had many, many options, and I wanted her to know what all of her options are so she could make an informed decision. Do you like this? Do you like that kind of campus environment? Do they offer what you need in order to become what you want to become? She had told me since seventh grade that she wanted to be a doctor. And then when she got eighth grade, she says, "Mom, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I think I want to be a pharmacist." She said, "I don't like dealing with blood and gore and just sick people. And that would just make me very sad. So I think I want to be a pharmacist instead." So you're still a doctor. You're going to be a doctor because they have a Pharm D program where you could become a doctor as a pharmacist. And so she did that. And we're very proud of her. She's Dr. Eden Jenkins now. So she did a pharmacy internship at Midwestern. I found that one, and it taught her a lot of things, all the things that she needed to know going into pharmacy. So that was a really, really good experience for her. Next slide, please. So the academic rigor, we've already talked a little bit about that. Um, and your transcripts have to reflect that you're a hard worker. Um, you're more than just a smart kid, because what I tell students now is smart is a dime a dozen. There are a lot of smart kids. What admission officers are looking for are students who have more to offer, students who will be an added value to their campus. Like, what else can you do? Have you done a lot of volunteer? Have you created something? How are you helping the community or serving the community in which you live? We want to know more about you, not that you're an A student or you're just a super smart girl. How are you going to help us? How are you going to help Harvard? How are you going to help Xavier University of Louisiana? And be a part of this community and make our school great and make our programs great. So being smart is just not enough anymore. It used to be, but not anymore. They want well-rounded students who can walk and chew gum at the same time. Next slide, please. So we started off strong. So her classes, we handpicked her teachers. We knew who the strong teachers were and who she would learn. We knew her learning style, and we knew who she would be most successful with. We made sure she was in all honors, all IB, all AP classes, all 4 years of her high school. Her GPA was a 4.57 weighted and a 3.9 unweighted. And because she always took honors and IB and AP, all the rigorous courses, it was hard for her to have a low GPA, because if you get an A in uh, or AP class, that's 5 points instead of 4 points. So I think she only got one B, maybe two B's her whole high school career. So she had a really good GPA that she maintained throughout her high school years. She also did the dual enrollment, which I think is not talked about enough. She did the dual enrollment program, or the ACE program, at South Mountain Community College, where she earned 54 credits, and she had a 4-point GPA in all of her college courses. So when she started at Xavier University of Louisiana as an undergrad, she started as a junior. So she only had to do 2 years as an undergrad, and then she moved right into her pharmacy program, her Pharm D program, to become a doctor. Her ACT score was 29. 36 is the highest. I wanted her to take it again, but she was like, Mom, I'm tired. I've already taken it 3 times. I don't think I can get any higher. But the higher your ACT score, usually the more money you get. So I try to encourage kids to start taking it your junior year, and then you can take it 2 or 3 times. The school districts offer fee waivers to help those who may not be able to afford it. But we were able to pay for Eden's extra tests that she took, but counselors do have fee waivers, so students do not necessarily have to pay for it. Next slide, please. So the financial aid and planning, this is kind of everything. You apply early. I tell the kids about the old adage, the early bird gets the worm. So you have to apply early. As soon as they open up, we were up at midnight. I think they opened something midnight when she was a senior in 2018, and 12:01 or 12:05, we were, just completing everything because we know that the money dries up after a certain point. It starts to get a little dismal. I talked to them about negotiating offers. Just because you get an offer from a school doesn't mean that's it. Because she wanted to be a pharmacist. The U of A program that was really good. They offered her a certain amount of money. And so we were able to talk to them and negotiate a better offer that gave her enough money to cover everything for all 4 years because of, like I said, her grades, her extracurriculars, her interests. But she just decided she didn't want to stay here in Arizona, but that would have been really great. And then we tell parents and students to plan ahead. Next slide, please. So it is always important, we tell students to compare and negotiate their financial aid packets. Um, just because you get an offer, don't stop there. Um, and and we have put together some letters to show them the verbiage and what they need to say and how they need to say it when they're trying to negotiate their packets. Um, we encourage them to apply early action, early decision, regular decision, rolling admissions, open admissions, restrictive early actions. And then we describe to them and identify which is which is which, so that they'll know when to apply and not miss, the deadlines for application season. We talked to about applying for multiple pathways. You want to go to a community college or a JUCO, that's fine. Uh, some students need the training wheels before they get to a big state university because it can be overwhelming. And we talked to them about how to pick a college as well. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But we talked to them about trade schools. We talked to them about the state schools, the big three or the big four, ASU, U of A, NAU, and maybe GCU, uh, to make sure that they are aware of what some of the programs, some of the scholarships, some of their um, uh, the programs, I would say they're honors programs and honor colleges and things like that. We also talk to them about HBCUs because we want them to understand that HBCUs are viable options. We talk about some of the myths and some of the facts about HBCUs, and we encourage our students to attend HBCUs, PWIs as well, and Ivy Leagues. We just want you in college because the statistics tell us that students who graduate from high school versus the student who graduate from college, um, the high schooler the high school graduate earns about $30,000 less annually. Well, if you take that into account and multiply that out um, over maybe 40 years until you retire, you've missed out on about $1 million, over $1 million. So that's how I break it down for the kids. Like I have a son who he finished high school and he did not want to go any further. So I had to have that conversation with him like, son, what are you doing? I mean, I know that not all kids will walk the same path or have the same trajectory, but I have four adult children. Two of them are lawyers. One is a doctor, and one is EMT certificated. But that is what he chose to do. So I had to not push my fears and my wishes on him, but I did want to make my son aware that his earning potential um, will be a little lower, and that's just the fact. And he's okay with that. He said, I'm not like everybody else. I'm not that way. So we just kind of laid off of him for a minute and just, let him find his way and navigate through his plan. Because my plan is not his plan. So next slide, please. Okay, and that's all I have on how I became a $1 million mom. It's hard work. It's a lot of research. Um, I tell the story to my parents and my students. Um, one of the reasons why I go so hard in this area is because I grew up in rural Mississippi. I did not have a counselor in high school to help me navigate the process. I did not know the timelines. I did not know the deadlines. And so after I learned a little bit about, oh, I was supposed to take the ACT. Oh, I was supposed to do da 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 da. Um, I vowed to myself, if I am so lucky and if I ever have kids, I'm going to um, make sure that I help them. So, how did I help them? I got in the system. I became a teacher. I learned as much as I could about the process, about the deadlines, about the timelines, so that I can help others. I don't want other parents and other students to have to muddle through and be late and be behind and not be aware of what this process is like. And so I took some of the guesswork out of it and created a resource for them. I created a website with all free resources. I created a playbook or a guide so that they can know what the expectation is. And all you have to do is open the book and go. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Do you have any questions for me or anything in particular you'd like for me to share further?
I have a question. Hi, I'm Meryl. Thank you so
Hi,
much. This
Mary.
was super helpful. I love your um, suggestion about negotiating
Mhm.
packages. Do you have a recommendation, like who to negotiate? Like, do you write the letter or contact the director of financial aid, or any suggestions there?
I have 4 letters, and I will email them to you guys as soon as we're off this call. So it's four sample let 3 or 4, and I'll make sure you get those.
Thank you so much.
But for me, I can tell you that I went to like each school. Um, so U of A, they have an assigned person for Fairfax, and so I contacted that person, and I could have gone higher or further, but she satisfied what I wanted for Eden. I said, "Hey, we're not talking about a run-of-the-mill student. We're talking about a student with this, that." And she's like, "Yeah, you're right." And she says, "I'll give her this amount." So they did it, and I didn't have to, make, go any further. But she was just our assigned representative for Fairfax from U of A, because I was like, Eden is looking to go out of state, and we want her to stay. We want her talent in state. We want her to be here in Phoenix, but she's talking about taking her act on the road, and they didn't want to hear that. They were like, "Yeah, you're right." So they gave us what we asked for, exactly what we asked for. And we didn't want any bills for Eden, any payments or anything. So, yeah, she worked hard all these years, multitasking, juggling, struggling, not a real good social life because she was going to high school and college at the same time. And she was in all of these extracurricular things and she was volunteering. So all of her time had been spent preparing and getting ready to be a doctor, to be great, to help others, to be, um, you know, to help society in the ways that she could. So, and a lot of parents don't negotiate, and students, they don't know. They just get their little letter and they, oh, I wish I had more. Oh, I wish I could do this, but I'll send those letters to you so you can help students, you know, use their voice or help parents use their voice to get what they want.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or
All right. Alrighty, Ms. Jenkins. Thank you so much for your presentation. Was very informative, and I'll go ahead and stop recording for us. There we are. Alrighty.